Welcome to this English presentation. So I'm going to make it in English and talk about individualization. I hope you're not bothered by the sound on the other side. That's okay. We'll make it. Right. So let's start. The whole story started with performance. If you look at performance, from an individual point of view, maybe a very different way of looking at performance. For some people, performance is like nothing. For some, it will motivate them to the highest point. And from others, performance is like neutral. So we started a whole journey in individualization about performance. Let's make a few assumptions. Let's make two assumptions here today. First, the resources are coming from our body. We have all what we call natural movements. Those movements are inborn, and you're using them naturally without thinking. So are doing the kids and everybody. So the key is first in movements. The second thing, when you look at working together, it's about recognition. So how to recognize somebody so that he feels or she feels that she's actually expressing and being welcomed in the world. So if you have people that are not recognized, and we have most of the corporate environment, for example, where people are not recognized in what they do. It's a little bit different in the Agile world, of course, because we aim something different. But if you look at corporate environment, it's what we have mostly. Let's say more than 90% of the time. People are not recognized for what they do or who they are. So they're just supposed to be paid at the end of the month and they do their job. That's about that. And of course, if you don't have any recognition, then we have problems. And for the person to be recognized, we need also to acknowledge, to recognize the differences that are expressed by people. So it's all about diversity and variety, and it's about, of course, individualization. So the question was how to individualize. What we did a long time ago, it's about 30 years now, if I'm going to go on a good track. It's coming from top sport, where I was coaching. And 30 years ago, we started to see that there are differences in the way people move, act, and experience, and do their techniques. So it's coming from the sports world, and it's coming from the area of top sport. And we saw, and we witnessed, in fact, that there are a few things that we cannot change. So if you cannot change them, then you have to use them. So the idea was how to use those things. So from different way of acting and moving and doing things, we designed or we tried to express or to define some way of moving, different way of moving. If I give you a glimpse into the different way of moving, you will see that. You will see the fact that we can witness 4 different families. There are more complexity behind, of course, but these 4 big families of motor skills, they are fundamental. We all have all of them, but we don't use them the same way. So we initiate what we do using one of them, and then we can, of course, go to the others. So we have the chance to have everything. The problem is we are not conscious. We are not conscious that we have everything. And we are not conscious most of the time of the one we use regularly. If you use one of those, you will start by doing things a bit differently. And it's something that we can profile, that we can test, that we can measure, of course. Now we are starting, after a lot of years, to create some scientific studies about what we witnessed. And it's moving in a very interesting direction. There are 4 different big poles here, or each of the corner is explaining how it's functioning, which means you may start from impersonal way of looking at things, or you may start from personal way of looking at things. None of them are good or bad. Okay, it's just a must. You have to do them, no problem. You can start with one of them. But if I'm going to start with, let's go on the proper direction. If I'm going to start with impersonal things, I'm not going to take into account people. Our management system is based on that. That's what people call professional way of working. They call that professional way of working. So in the management world, the starting assumption was not to take people into account. And that's also okay. At some point, you have to do that too. Okay, there is no way that you can only do with people. But the idea is to do the whole thing. So not stay on one point or go to the other one, but integrate all parameters together. You may start at personal thing, of course. And then the pros and cons of starting a personal thing is you may be affected a lot by what is happening. Okay, if you start a non-personal thing, so impersonal thing, you will not be as much as affected by what is happening. If you start and put your attention on the unknown world, so you're going to be curious. A lot of people are curious because they are attracted by the known world. They want to discover new things, innovate, create, and everything. But you may also start with known world, is what Patrice was talking about before, which has people that like processes. If they like processes, they're going to start with what they know. And they use their processes to build the rest. But at the end, you may start here or you may start here. At the end is how you integrate the whole thing together. And that's the point. You need to integrate everything. We created those names in terms of how they function. All those different families are ways of moving, ways of coordinating the body in a very different way. When you are a distal person, so you will look like, take an example, like Zinedine Zidane, which has a distal motor skill, which is a fine coordination, fine high hand, high foot coordination. Okay, but everybody has that. But of course, if you start with that, you will develop some skills that are fine motor skills. Okay, if you start with the conceptual way of functioning, you will mostly go for how to use strategically the movement patterns. So how to be efficient, how to be economical, how to do the least to reach to reach the best. The conceptual way of functioning is an example of that is a guy that is coming from my country, which is Roger Federer. He's a conceptual guy. He's a strategist. So he's not going to put his energy everywhere. He's going to put his energy where he's good. So not play every tournament, but just play the tournament where he has a chance to do something. It was from the beginning like that. If you look at this one, for example, it's another way of functioning, which you find in a tennis player, in a French tennis player, that is, which name I'm going to remember. It's not coming back to my name. 9. No, Monfils is more on that one. This is Tsonga. Yeah, it's coming back. Tsonga. More physical, bigger way of functioning, very powerful, a lot of power. No, Tsonga is more on the rhythmical way, which is people that only do what they like to do. So they are going in a very different way of functioning. I'm going to give you an example and a difference between what we call those people and those people here. So they are opposite, but they are complementary. Okay, so I'm going to give an example of one of these and one of those, which is a very old already system. I'm gonna give you a little bit of the glimpse on a volleyball sequence, because it's where we started 30 years ago. So we started to witness how they were playing. They were not playing the same way. They were using different techniques for the same purpose. Okay, they have to play the ball, but the way they play the ball is very different. And of course, at that time, nobody knows. Nobody knew that it was a bit different. So here you have a blue guy that is linked to that way of functioning. So what you will see with him, I'm going to run the video just after, but give you a little bit of the glimpse on what to look at. He has what we call a symmetrical way of organizing his body posture. It's symmetrical, which means he's trying to do the same on the right side than on the left side, which means he's trying to put his weight in the middle. The other one on the right side, which is a very famous Brazilian player, is what we call asymmetrical, which means he's not going to have his weight in the middle, but he's going to have his weight on the left. So he will initiate his movement using his left side. Okay, and you will see that. Now, just by looking at how they prepare, the guy that is going to serve is hidden behind that giant player in the middle. He's just behind here, you only see the feet. And this one is waiting for the serve to occur, and this one also. Okay, it has to look a little bit between here. But he's not preparing the same. So this one is a bit higher, this one is a bit lower, and so on and so forth. So have a look at what they do. It's going very fast, so it's coming back to something after, okay? It's going very fast, and I'm going to make it a little bit more. That's normal speed. Very quick. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so here the ball is thrown in the air. The ball was thrown in the air. The guy is going to serve, jump serve. The ball is thrown in the air. This one is preparing down, and this one is up. You see that more it comes, he jumped. The ball is coming here. He's going to prepare down, and he's standing up. So they will observe and take the information using two different postures. One is up, one is down. And then after, from that position, they will play the ball. And what you see in books, in fact, you see people middle position, which means I will stop the video again at the same point to make it clear. So when they're here, they don't prepare the same, but at the end, they take the same position. And if you look in a book, in every book, where they display techniques, and it's in every single sport, it's not only in volleyball, they will put pictures where they seems that they do the same, but they don't, because they prepare differently, and they take information differently. If you change and you ask that guy to do like this one, and this guy to do like this one, it's not going to work. Okay, they will not be able to play. So the important thing is to understand why is there a difference between the two. Because, of course, you can act differently. This one is what we have the symmetrical organization, which means he has what we call a center of gravity in his body that is backwards. Center of gravity, the weight is on his heels. So he's using differently the body in order to act. The guy on the right side is asymmetrical to the left and has his weight to the front part of the feet. So it's another way of organizing the body posture. If you look at, if I can, because here the going back is a bit different, I will show you again one thing. So they won the rally, of course. What you see here, that guy is going to jump and be symmetrical. That guy is organizing his body on the left. See? Released and loaded. That the left side is loaded, this one is released. And using this posture, he can take the information coming from the jump serve. This one will just stay down and organize his body posture. So when the ball will be contacted, the ball is here, when the ball will be contacted, it will be symmetrical and it will still be on the left. Just to organize, tack here, and then they play. So the difference between the two, if I go here, you can see on that slide. The difference is the guy in blue is on the right side, he has the weight on the back, and he will use his body to act forward in front of his body, and the guy on the other side has the weight in front and will use his back chains, his muscle chains to act. So those walking patterns, walking from the top or walking from the bottom, using head and shoulder first or using the lower part of the body first, these are the two possibilities we have as human beings. So everybody here in this room walks from the top or from the bottom. Okay, you have no other way to walk. Either your weight is in front or your weight is in the back. Two possibilities. Then of course you may have, if your weight is on the back, you are symmetrically organized, which means you try to have the same organization on the right side and on the left side. If you walk from the top and you have head and shoulder first, then you will have an asymmetry to the right or to the left. Okay, which means we can create the 4 combinations that we had before. If I come back here, very quickly here, if you are here on those two, you're going to work from the bottom here, and if you are on those two here, you're going to work from the top. So this one will be asymmetrical to the right, asymmetrical to the left. This one will be symmetrical as this one that we just saw on the picture in volleyball. Both are symmetrical. They have slight differences after. But they are also working from the bottom. So if you move forward here, the difference we can witness, and that's something we can try with you. I want you maybe to try. We'll make an example with somebody here. Maybe with you if you want. You want to try something. You may have, if you are on those two, you may have a point in your back that we call a high mobile point that is coordinating the body between the lower part of your body and the upper part of your body, which means the downward part and the upward part. This is the difference. If you are on the other side here, that zone is on the low mobile point. So that's something we can test. How we can test it? Because the body, we witness that the body gives us very nice information when we ask. When you ask for cognitive information, depends. People can lie, people can say whatever they want, no problem. The problem is when you go for the body, there is no way you can lie. You just have to move as you are, or as you naturally are. So that's an example. How do we do that? I just create a small organization here to make it happen, to make the difference between the two. Okay? So I can use one of you just to try. You want to come? Just come. I don't know if the camera is following or if we go down here. Maybe up there is better. Just to use the organization. Okay. Just show you the thing how I do it. Hi. Hi. Okay. Joseph. Okay. So, yeah. No, so just the idea. I'm going to activate the two zones and try to profile or to test where Joseph has his preference. Okay. It's something quite easy to do. when you go for the body, it's not very difficult. The body says yes or no. It doesn't mean that I'm always right. I'm not looking for truth. I'm looking for what I can witness, so what he's doing now, which is very important. So what we'll do with you is we will activate both points, and we'll test you. So what I'm going to do, I can just turn around. Okay, turn around here. Okay, so they can have a look. What I will do, I will use this elbow level here, okay? And I will do exactly what the drawing is shown here. I will slightly push him on the side without saying which side I'm going to do it. It's a little bit of surprise for Joseph, okay? And I can push on one side or the other, push on the other, without falling, of course, okay? But you may open a little bit your legs so you can a bit more stable, that's it, okay? And I'm going to push you. So if I push normally here, is a normal situation, he can come back. It's like the elastic is tensed, and he will not fall. He comes back every time, okay? If I activate the upper zone, I'm just going to activate the upper zone here, that zone. Everybody has both zones. One is mobile, and the other one is stable. I'm going to look at the mobile point, because it's something that can help you here. If you know where it is, you can relax yourself in 1 minute. Very easily relax your body in 1 minute. We use that with top sports people. It's very, very useful, okay? If I'm activate this zone, okay, and I'm going to test him, see, he's okay. It's like before. It's like before. It doesn't fall here, okay? If I just check him, one side or the other. If I'm going to activate here, I can press a little bit against me, so I can press a little bit against me here. I'm just going to activate the lower zone, which seems to be stable for him. Because if I push, you see, it doesn't move forward. If I push here, it doesn't move forward. You will see that if I push up here, come against me a little bit here, if I push up here, it has to move forward. Okay? Which blocks the thing. So if I'm activating this one here, again, come against me a bit more, so we can make more pressure. Okay, that's good. You can come back. Come back to the normal position. If I go here, and I push the same thing, it's going to fall. Which means, thank you, Pastor. Which means Joseph seems to have what we call a high mobile point. Okay, when we profile things, it means that if you release tension using that high zone, you release tension on the upper zone, your whole body is available for movement. If you have tension on the upper body here, down back there, you are stressed. So that's just a little bit of I call that a barometer, which means it gives you a stress level. If the zone mobile is blocked, you are stressed. If it's loose, you are relaxed. So if you relax that zone, also while sitting, while working, you are available for whatever you do. You can do your job and do your job, no problem, okay? But if you're tensed, if something is going wrong, okay, it's going wrong, you are gathering tension on that zone, either up or down, depending on your preference. One of them will be tense, the other will be stable. So for you, it means if we have to validate the way you move, it will be between the guy on the blue or the guy on the red side. So the D and R situation, okay? Then we have to know, is he walking from the top or from the bottom? So I'm gonna just check this one here. Is he okay with the weight on the heels, or is he okay with the weight on the front foot? Okay? So we're gonna just test that for you. I put him first on the front foot, okay? So I want stay exactly where you were before, open your legs a little bit apart, okay? And put more weight on the front part of your feet. Yes, a little bit, okay? And I'm gonna test. And then I will do the contrary. He's gonna put his weight more on the heels, and we test also, okay? Here. I'm not gonna tell which side I'm pushing. I'm gonna surprise him a little bit, huh? Okay? It's very stable here. No problem. And now you just bend your knees a little bit and you put more weight on your heels. Okay? Normally when they go to a position that is not the entry point, not the natural entry, he has to think. Okay? Naturally he will go where he's good, and if he asks something that is not the entry for him, then the preference, the people have to think. If you see him thinking, you know it's not the one. Okay? So the assumption for you, Joseph, is more now using this one. Wait, here. So which means being rhythmical, all those people that we coach, or you have in your Agile world, they have some, okay. Yes, okay. It's a new one. Okay, all those people, I would say, what they like in every environment where they work is just not to do like the others. They want to be different. They want to be original, which is, if I do something and you look at me, I'm doing my thing, you can be inspired by, of course, by what I'm doing. You can be inspired, but you're going to change this one and you will do something else. Even if you are inspired, you take a bit of things and you do something else. They never copy anything. The copy and paste for those people, no way. They change everything. Okay? That's the way. So these are people that are relying more, they're studying their world more with what we call contextual intelligence. So they are good people adapting to the context. But of course, there is always pros and cons of being something or somebody. But that's it. I'm going to thank you, Joseph, for the demonstration. I don't have a lot of time anyway, but what I wanted to show again behind that is that something that is not taught in school and that's very, very damageable to our society is that the brain first evolved for body movements. So we don't have a brain to think. That's completely false if you see at evolution and biology, which is my major study. We don't have a brain to think. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information coming from people here. Let you look at what Rodolfo Lignas is saying. We don't move because we think, but we think because we move. So he's saying just that thinking is our ability to internalize movement. If you are able to internalize movement with the brain, you are able to think. So because you move, you think. Another guy was saying something very close. The reason for the brain to produce adaptable and complex movement. If you speak, if you move, every single thing you do in your life is through muscles. You cannot do anything else. You need muscles. You need muscles to speak, to move, to jump, to do everything, to program on the keyboard. It's all about muscles. Okay, so the only environment that didn't understand that is school and education. So we have preferences everywhere. We have preferences, dynamic system of preferences everywhere. In our balance system, in our nervous system, how we integrate information in our visual system, how we manage attention, and in our posture, how we link the upper body and the lower body. The preferences are here for us to help us to explore our environment. Because if you have a preference, you go faster, you go quicker. You can still come back and do the other things. Okay? It's a starting point. It's not an objective, it's a starting point. You will do all the way of moving in your life. But the problem is you have to start somewhere. Either symmetrical, asymmetrical, in the front, on the back. We see all the differences in human beings. But it helps us explore the things. If we look at complexity, what I just presented you is here. We have model profiles. In fact, I gave you 4 families, but we have 4 different families inside of each of the 4, which means you have minimum 16 here in the system we designed. And you have also triggers that will help you understand how you are motivated. All those things, they are profiled using movements, like I did with Joseph, which means they are not done by questionnaire, they're not done cognitively, but only with coordination and movement. only with coordination and movement. At the end, when you put those preferences inside a context, you will have unique people. So we have 8 billion people on Earth. They are all different. Okay, they're all different, but they share a few ways of functioning. But at the end, because of the context, because of the culture, the education and everything, they are all very different. Okay, if I look at the system, it's a very dynamical system. So it's not a simple thing. We are very complex. We are very complex, and it's non-linear system, which means, why do we have such a complexity? Why do we have all those things inside the way we function? It's just because we need to adapt. We need to adapt to our environments. Okay, we have no other choice. There's a lot of constraints in the environment, and I need very fine adaptation skills to be able to cope with what is happening in my world. And all those things are here for us to adapt to whatever is happening. We will spend most of the time in a main system, the 80% thing, main system, and the rest of the time, in our conscious time, in a second complementary system. One will be for, like, exploitation, okay? I'm gonna express myself in that system. And the other one will be like exploration for things I don't know, and in order for me to recuperate. When I need to recover, when I'm fatigued, when I'm stressed, the second system will come up. Which means if Joseph is starting his day on the front feet, being asymmetrical to the left, he will end up mostly in the evening being back feet here, loaded, symmetrical when you are tired. Because you will use one system, and when the first system is tired, you will use the second system. This is very intelligent. You don't use things that are tired, you just switch to something that is not tired. Okay? So you cover in the second system. So you may walk from the top in the morning and from the bottom in the evening. That's normal. Everybody is doing that. Or reversely. You can start in the bottom and walk to the top in the evening. But you're going to move posture during the day according to what you experience. And that's very important in top sport for us, and of course in corporate environment, because you're using different competencies, and you let competencies emerge in both systems. Working top, it's some competencies. Working bottom, it's other competencies, which means you will move around the dimensions I just showed at the beginning: non-personal, personal, unknown, known. You will move between those. So you will go and use everything at the end. The only thing is just listen to your body. Listen to your body so that your body is telling you what you are using. Don't use your head. Just listen to your body, and not anybody. Just listen to your body. The body has the truth. So the system is here. It's very complex, and it's like the Lorentz butterfly, which means you have attractors and you jump from one side to the others, but you never do twice the same thing. Okay, it's already finished. We have to move to the other place. And if you have any question, you can still come back to me after. Okay, thank you very much.